What if I told you the next 30 seconds could change the way you picture the Warriors for the rest of Steph's career? Would you lean in or scroll past and miss the moment before it becomes the moment? What if I said, there's a blueprint on the whiteboard right now that doesn't just patch a leak, it swings a wrecking ball, flips the house, and builds something hungrier, faster, scarier than anything the Bay has rolled out since the dynasty's peak? Picture the Chase Center, not as a museum of trophies, but as a lab late at night, lights humming, film looping, a handful of scouts and coaches arguing in whispers about a remix so wild it almost feels wrong until you see it in your head and can't unsee it. You want downhill pressure, rim protection, wings who fly into the passing lanes like they're stealing time itself? Okay, hold that picture. Don't blink, because once you see this version of the Warriors, it's hard to go back to life before it. Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where we don't chase the echo, we chase the signal. If you love this team the way we do, heart in your throat every time Steph releases from 28 feet, goosebumps when the ball whips from hand to hand. Until a corner three detonates, hit that subscribe, tap the like, ring the bell. Tonight, we're not tossing crumbs. We're cooking the whole meal. Stay with me until the end, because the final 2 minutes will be the clearest I've ever been about risk, reward, and what this franchise owes to number 30, while the window is still cracked open to the Bay breeze. Here's what we're going to unpack together. First, the philosophy, what has to change if the goal's not just competitive, but terrifying again. Then the architecture, how a remodel beats a rebuild when you've got a generational shooter aging like a fine, ruthless clock. We'll map rotations, minutes, and roles. We'll talk cap reality in the new CBA world. We'll weigh culture, maturity, and leadership. And we'll confront the elephant in the room, the price of boldness. I'll give you the exact reasons this idea either rockets or burns, and the timeline that makes sense if you dare to try. Start with identity. The championship Warriors were Jazz. Read and react. Slip screens, ghost actions, dribble handoffs that turned defenders into statues just long enough for a splash to land. But every empire meets its counterpunch. The West got longer, springier, meaner at the rim. Playoff series turned into mud fights, half court, late clock, who can bend the paint with force, not just beauty. Golden State's DNA still lives in movement, but the league has demanded something louder at the rim and bigger in the air. You can keep the symphony and still add the drum line that rattles your chest. That's the point of a remodel. Keep the good bones, change the angles that no longer beat the weather. In the building, the word that matters is pressure, not whew. Pressure in the standings, pressure on the defense, every possession, paint touches, free throws, rotations that feel like emergency alarms. The current shape too often asks Steph to be both the spark and the oxygen. When that's the case, he's a miracle until he's human. A remodel says, keep the miracle, supply new oxygen. Make every scout's report describe a dilemma, not a pattern. Do you top-lock Curry and die by the drive? Do you pack the paint and die by the barrage? Pick a poison. Drink it fast. This version of the Warriors leans into pace without panic. It wants a second ball handler who doesn't just initiate, but detonates. It wants a vertical big who sets skyscraper screens, flips his hips like a dancer, and sprints rim to rim until the floor warps. It wants a wing who refuses to be quiet. Closeouts, like lightning, cuts like daggers, and a corner three that punishes your smallest lapse. You don't abandon intelligence for chaos. You marry them and make every defensive rule feel one step too slow. Defensively, a remodel means restoring the old menace with a new spine. You remember those possessions where opponents looked small? Not because the Warriors were the tallest, but because they were the fastest to the spot, loudest at the tag, smartest at the stunt. Add length at the rim, add a wing who treats passing lanes like debt that must be collected, add a guard who turns pick and roll into a dare. Switch us. Go ahead. Try to solve 4 problems in 1 second. The goal isn't perfection, it's pressure and contagion. Effort so obvious it makes the other bench feel tired before the fourth starts. Culturally, a remodel is more than a transaction log. It's a handshake with a fan base that spans the bay and half the planet. It says to the locker room, "We're not coasting on banners, we're building a new road over the same ocean." And yes, it can be smart business too. Energy in the building becomes energy in the market. And sometimes the right player is also the right bridge to the people who watch at 3 a.m. on the other side of the world. But make no mistake, this is basketball first, always. Of course, boldness has a bill. The second apron world punishes sloppiness. Assets are finite. Chemistry is fragile. Young talent wants touches, and vets want clarity. A remodel is a gamble with real stakes. You don't touch foundational pieces lightly. You measure twice, cut once, and accept that social media will scream either way. That's the job. That's the weight of chasing one more parade. So, what? Is it? What's the shape on that whiteboard that keeps pulling the eyes of coaches and scouts? The one that makes you mutter, "If this hits, we're a problem again." Here it is. The headline swing is Morant. The complementary engines are Abando and Sotto. 3 levers, 1 idea, pressure. Morant as downhill chaos that lives in the paint and lives at the line. Abando as a live-wire wing who flies into gaps, defends like a siren, and hits the corner with nerve. Sotto as a 7+ rim runner with soft hands, DHO feel, and the vertical gravity this offense hasn't consistently owned since the earliest lob to the moon days. That's the rumor blueprint. That's remodel. Let's talk fit before finance, because fit is the only reason you entertain the price. Morant and Curry together sound like a bar argument until you diagram the possessions. You don't turn Steph into a spot-up statue. You liberate him. More off-ball reps when you choose, not because you're forced. Imagine 21 delay into a quick pitch. Morant downhill, Steph ghosting out, defender hesitates a half beat. Too late. Layup, lob, or a 3 that lands like a thunderclap. Or Spain pick and roll inverted with Steph as the back screener. Help at the rim and he slips to daylight. It's unsolvable math when the numbers are moving. Would Ja buy the system? That's the question that matters. The answer lives in expectations and structure. You ask him to be the first car through the snow, not the only engine on the train. The Warriors' culture, and yes, that word means something here, gives talented players the scaffolding to climb without slipping. Veteran voices hold lines. The playbook rewards selflessness with wide-open joy. Mistakes aren't free, but growth is possible. If Morant wants the ring more than the runway, this is the runway that leads to the ring. Now the big man. The motion. Offense sings when the 5 can do 3 things: set real screens, make real reads, and run like he loves it. Sotto won't be asked to be something he isn't. He'll be asked to become the sharpest version of what he can be. Sprint to the level, flip the angle, dive with purpose. Catch in the pocket and make the one-beat pass to the corner when tags come late. DHO with Steph at 30 feet is a trust fall for defenses. They don't know whether to chase, switch, or pray. If Kai's motor keeps up and his rim verticality shows up, you've added a layer the scouting report can't ignore. And the wing, never an afterthought. Abando plays like the gym owes him money. First back in transition defense, first to the floor for 50-50s, and a fearless trigger from the corner that gets louder after he blows up a dribble handoff on the other end. In Kerr's ecosystem, wings who cut decisively and guard without complaining turn into closers before anyone notices. If the shot holds at league average and the processing speed keeps climbing, you've found a player who raises your floor every night and your ceiling in late May. Lineups? Picture the chaos. Curry, Morant, a two-way wing, Draymond at the fulcrum, Sotto sprinting. The first action is a decoy, the second one breaks you. Bring Abando in with the second unit, and you've got a plug of energy that lets Steph sit without the pace dying. Slot him next to the starters, and he becomes the guy who punishes the attention a defense must spend on 30 and 12. If you're hearing echoes of the old strength in numbers, good. This is that idea with updated parts. Let's be adults about risk. Ja's brilliance comes with headlines he didn't want. A Warriors bet here is also a bet on growth. You don't bury the past. You build the next page with accountability and support. This locker room has navigated egos, storms, and the strangest seasons in NBA memory. The standard is high and clear. Win the day, win the possession, own your choices. If that's a fit, the basketball will sing. If it isn't, you don't make the call. Economics are complicated, not impossible. In a second apron world, every dollar is a decision. Salary matching is math, picks are oxygen, and young talent is both currency and conscience. You don't sell the farm, you decide which acre feeds. The family next spring. Any headline trade demands a price. Any smart front office sets a walkaway number and means it. Remodel only works if you keep enough beams to hold the roof. Timeline matters. No one's saying tomorrow. You evaluate the market, the maturity, the fit. You watch how the early season defines your leverage. You mark the trade deadline in bright ink, and you keep the summer warm. Meanwhile, you can audition the complementary pieces in a variety of ways. Camp looks, 2 ways, G League integration, because development is not a press release, it's a daily practice. From a pure hoops lens, the beauty is in the counters. Show teams double drag with Morant as the lead handler. When they ice it, you empty the corner and let him carve. When they switch, you slip the second screen and find the lob. When they pack the paint, you flip to a DHO series that becomes a 3-man waltz. Steph fakes high. Abando back cuts. Draymond plays traffic cop with the ball. None of this requires the Warriors to abandon what made them special. It asks them to add the one thing they've missed in too many fourth quarters: relentless, repeatable pressure at the rim. Defensively, you toggle. Put length at the nail. Shrink the box, tag early, and live with tough twos. Morant's best defensive possessions arrive when the game demands them. Give him a scheme with simple rules and loud help. Abando gives you a chaser who doesn't quit on a screen. Sotto's job is verticality and rebounds that end possessions. No hero ball, just fundamental violence on the glass. Put that together and you get stops that start runs, that end games. Zoom out to the city. The Bay's Filipino community is gigantic and joyful. They already show up for this team like it's family. A roster that includes Filipino talent isn't a marketing trick. It's a celebration. It means watch parties that feel like home. Merch that means something, a whole generation of kids in blue and gold, seeing themselves on the floor and believing a little bit louder. Sports are cold on the spreadsheet and hot in the soul. The best teams honor both. There will be skeptics. 2 ball-dominant guards, a developmental big in win-now minutes, a wing who's still proving the shot? Good. Doubt is the background music of every great pivot. The counter is not a quote. It's a run in the third that stretches to the end. It's Steph walking into a drag-up 3 because the defense spent 6 possessions terrified of Morant at the rim. It's a bench unit that doesn't bleed, a rim. That doesn't feel soft to opponents, a building that sounds like 2016 with a 2026 twist. Data heads, I hear you. The thesis is simple. Increase paint touches, free throw rate and rim attempts, preserve three-point volume with better gravity, reduce live ball turnovers by adding an engine who can bend the floor without over-dribbling, add a vertical big to restore lob threat and offensive rebounding snapshots. Insert a wing who turns defense into offense twice a quarter. If the deltas swing even modestly in those bins, your margin in clutch time expands. And with Steph, clutch time is still a comfortable room. Where does this leave the young core, the vets, the guys who've ridden with Steph through the storms? With roles, not rumors. A remodel is not a demolition of trust. It's a reassignment of responsibility. Some nights, the second unit belongs to the kids. Some nights a vet closes because the matchup calls his name. The compass is the scoreboard. The culture is the buy-in. Everyone eats when the ball moves, and the rim gets touched first. I keep coming back to the picture from the opening. Late night, whiteboard, film looping. You don't chase wild ideas because they're flashy. You chase them because the narrow path to one more banner demands uncomfortable questions. Can the Warriors win one more the old way? Maybe. Can they raise their ceiling by adding rim pressure, vertical gravity, and wing chaos while giving Steph a partner who turns oxygen into fire? That's the remodel. That's the dare. If you're still with me, you're not just a fan, you're part of the lab. Drop your take. Is this the kind of swing that honors Steph's timeline or an overreach in a league that punishes impatience? Would you pay the price for the headline guard if it means saying goodbye to pieces you love? Are you willing to bet on development for a 7-footer with hands soft enough to catch a bullet pass and a wing who plays like the floor is tilted toward your rim? Here's my honest verdict. The Warriors don't need a rebuild. They need a remodel that adds pressure without sacrificing soul. The Morant Abando Sotto blueprint checks the right boxes on a chalkboard and in a heartbeat monitor. If the culture is as strong as we believe, and history says yes, then the gamble is worth exploring with discipline and a hard no in your back pocket if the ask gets stupid. Bold is not reckless. Bold is measured courage at the edge of the cliff. And remember, until ink hits paper, this is a concept, a carefully considered rumor, a thought experiment loud enough to feel real, because the basketball makes sense. Nothing is official. Phones ring, markets shift, seasons reveal what spreadsheets can't. But if you felt your pulse quicken while we painted it, that's because remodel isn't just about names. It's about a team refusing to let the clock run out on the greatest shooter we've ever seen without throwing one more haymaker. If this breakdown hit you in the chest, show love. Like the video, subscribe to Warriors News Fan Report, and turn on notifications so you're first in when the next piece of the puzzle drops. This community is built on curiosity, courage, and hoop IQ, and I promise you, when the story moves from the whiteboard to the floor, we'll be here together, yelling at the screen like family, chasing that feeling we all know too well.